Frederick and John Mayer Director of the Denver Art Museum, and I thought it would be good to be here today to give you a little brief report about what happened yesterday at the museum, and I will be as well afterwards available for your questions. So around 2 p.m. yesterday on Sunday, an incident occurred with a visitor on the 4th floor level within our exhibition Stampede, and a total of 10 artworks in one of the 4th floor galleries got compromised. An individual was arrested at the museum and taken into police custody right away. The 4th floor of the building was closed to visitors while police and staff evaluated the situation, but the 4th floor is back open today with the exception of the one gallery. The museum staff yesterday responded immediately and followed all its visitors and safety protocols, and no injuries were reported and no other visitor was involved in this action. As I said, the museum and the 4th floor is open today, and this one gallery space will probably stay closed until, well, within the next few days, and we will be open the whole gallery back again. Questions?
What types of objects were damaged and to what extent?
So the extent of the damage gets right at this minute evaluated by our conservators, and it was objects mostly from the pre-Columbian collection, modern and contemporary, and one object from the Asian collection.
What types of objects are we talking about? Is paintings, statues, other types of artwork?
So the pre-Columbian objects were ceramic vessels, and the Chinese object was a 19th century vase. We don't know anything about the motivation. It's clearly something that the police is investigating right now. I think they just released the name of the person in custody, and they're working on the motivation. It's hard for us to understand why this happened.
Did he say anything?
Well, I think he just acted very weird and didn't say anything about why he's doing this. Well, if you destroy artwork in a gallery, that is, to begin with, pretty weird. And he was very aggravated and obviously not really in a state of mind that was reasonable.
How was he stopped this act?
Our gallery hosts and our security staff was immediately on site. They informed the police, so they called 911, and the police came shortly after. And in the meantime, our gallery hosts and our security staff kept the person in the gallery.
Any idea of the how much money?
Well, the value in a museum is always something hard to discuss because, of course, every object for us has a cultural value that is enormous. And it has not a market value because we're not in the selling business. Our conservators are stellar, and I'm very confident that they will be able to conserve and restore hopefully most of the objects.
What came to mind when you saw that damage?
That this is a totally unreasonable, weird thing. And it happened the very first time in my museum career. It actually happened as well the very first time in the history of the Denver Art Museum.
How will you prevent something like this from happening again?
I think we look in a situation like this at our protocols. Everybody was acting according to the protocols, and they did exactly the right thing. Our staff was there on site. Actually, it was mentioned, I think, in one report that it was visitors who kept the person from doing what he did, and that's not true. It was our staff. It was the gallery hosts. We will look at the protocols, but I think right now I would not know how we could prevent something like this in the future better.
Was this captured on surveillance? And did your gallery host and security have to tackle him to stop him?
Yes and yes. It was kept on surveillance. We have surveillance footage of the whole incident. It's actually with the police right now. And since it's an ongoing criminal investigation, they are looking into it very carefully. And our gallery personnel really was able to keep him there in the gallery and to really, at the end, stop him from what he was doing.
But my question was, did they tackle him? Is that how it happened?
Yes, at the end they did.
And how easy is it? I guess I never imagined that you could knock over a loss at a museum. Is that, can you just knock it off?
No, you can't.
Okay, so
There was a lot of force involved. It was obviously a very angry young man. There was a lot of force in really trying to push the vitrines around, and that was not a thing that happened just accidentally. That was clear. Other questions?
This is an exhibit that deals with animals. Could that be some connection to what happened?
I don't think so. Honestly, it's actually a beautiful show, and most of the show is still accessible. So we're really talking about one gallery of, I don't know what it is, maybe 8 or 10 different galleries where this happened. It's not a gallery that's controversial in any way. And I think we're really dealing here more with a screwed up mind.
I understand every piece has cultural significance, but there are a few artists highlighted in the description. Dr. Keith, Mr. Remington, for example, were there pieces that you feel like have a higher profile that the conservators are going to have to work on? Better repair?
Well, I mean, the conservators have to really work on the repairs for a quite extensive amount of time, and it will not be an easy repair, particularly of some of the more detailed works. That'll take a while. But, as a World Art Museum, all cultures are very close to us and are of equal importance to us. So I think all the objects, of course, we will really try to bring back to its museum life.
What's your reaction to this? Do you get angry? Are you sad? What goes through your mind when you see this kind of trend?
Well, I mean, of course, you get angry and sad. And when we heard about it, several staff members were informed right after it happened. We all came down yesterday to look at the site and to get an idea why this happened and what the next steps should be. Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll keep. Yes?
Were there any works by artists that the general public might be familiar with that were impacted?
I mean, particularly in this room, as I said, it was Mayan vessels. It was a Qing dynasty vase, a 19th century dynasty vase from the Chinese collection. It was not necessarily objects that we always have on our 10 best objects lists, but it was all important objects, of course, to our collections, no question. Say that again.
Was there some sort of theme for that room specifically?
The whole theme, of course, is animals, and in this room in particular, there were some objects, as I said, from very different cultures that shared similar motifs and similar objects.
Will this individual be allowed back in the museum? What do you have for recourse against this individual to keep him from coming back and doing more destruction?
Well, I mean, I would say this is a serious thing, and someone like this is not invited again to come to our museum. That is for clear. That's for sure. And I think down the road, this was a visitor. He bought a ticket. So it was totally unpredictable that something like this could happen, and was not clear, no indication at the moment where he bought his ticket. But in general, of course, this is definitely something which you will prevent, and you try not to get that same person back into the house again.
Would you say and spell your name for us?
Sure. It's Christoph, Christoph, and the last name is Heinrich, Heinrich, and the title is Director of the Denver Art Museum. Thank you very much. We're going to keep you informed as soon as we learn more in this investigation, and thank you very much for your interest.